A firm believer in the rule of law, he attends courts more frequently than do lawyers and judges. His grit and determination can be seen from the range of issues he has battled in court. The 2G spectrum scam, the disproportionate assets case against the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, the Setu Samudram case, the Chidambaram Natarajar temple case, and more recently, the National Herald case and the case against black money. His tenacity is evident in an anecdote shared by one of his close friends. A minister once asked former Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao to request our guest to go slow on an issue, to which the former Prime Minister is learned to have replied, "There exists no man to stop him once he takes up an issue." Most importantly, he has spent many years in academia, teaching at IIT Delhi and Harvard University. One of his former students went on to become the Finance Minister of India. Hopefully, some of us in this auditorium today shall get lucky too. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the inimitable Dr. Subramanian Swamy. On behalf of IIM Bangalore, may I please request Richard to hand over a bouquet to our guest. Over to you, sir.
I should, because of the time constraint, I should say a special thanks to Dr. Swami. He was not able to avail of the regular flight facilities. So he hired an aircraft and has come for us exclusively. And he is rushing back to Delhi. And as most of you know, our government institution, even if the regular Subramanian comes, they will say you have come by peacock and not eligible for reimbursement. But Swami didn't think about it. Anyway, I should thank him profusely for that. Thank you.
ये 3G डाटा है क्या आपका?
Thank you very much, Professor Vaidyanathan and colleagues. I'm grateful to the IIM for this opportunity to speak on a subject which is very important and which something needs to be done soon. First of all, some further details of something that was left out in my introduction. As the student who took my class, he wasn't my student, but he took one of my large classes, the introductory economics, which was compulsory. And he was not in the economics department, he was in the business school. And he was such a playboy that I failed him. And now he's, after becoming finance minister, now he's no more finance minister. Now I'm trying to see if I could send him to jail. I had another student when I was a professor at IIT, whom I recommended to Harvard Business School, got in, became very famous. But greed got the better of him. And accidentally I initiated a process by which he also ended up in jail. That is Rajat Gupta. The anecdote about Narasimha Rao is that Ms. Jayalalitha sent somebody to him saying that Dr. Swami has a cabinet rank position in your government. I was chairman of the Labour Standards and International Trade Commission with cabinet rank, and told him that he is giving me a lot of trouble. That is, Jayalalitha was, the message was, and so please control him. So Narasimha Rao said, I controlling Swami, you find me someone in the whole world who can control him, I'll talk to him. The question is basically, it's a question of ideals, it's a question of commitment. Of course, these things have to be implemented with clarity and practicality. Today I'm going to speak to you about this issue of black money, and I'm sorry that we have in these 2 years not done anything to do the opposition. I think we need a new finance minister if you want black money. We want that. So I would like to tell you how practical it is to bring back my money. Abroad, the amount of black money is 60 times the income tax revenue. That means 120 lakh crores. You need not pay income tax for 60 years if you brought that money back. And I'll tell you how it can be brought back and how easy it is and how many countries have done so. The second thing is, within the country, black money is perhaps as high as 40% of the GDP as a benchmark number. But it circulates. The black money abroad is a stock. But because of certain financial derivatives introduced by that finance minister who deserves to go to jail, called participatory notes, the money abroad can also flow into the country and go back out again after earning something on it. So I'll begin by first telling you that black money is created when you engage in transaction outside the accounting system. And how to do it, chartered accountants are there and they tell you how to do it. So when there is no record of a transaction or partial record of a transaction, then black money gets generated. For example, if for example I export a certain amount but I underreport the earning, or I import a certain amount and exaggerate the expenditure for it, that's one way of generating black money. The other way is not pay your income tax, or bribe the income tax official to accept your estimate for a fee, and that money that is not paid as tax is then remains undeclared and therefore becomes part of the black money. So black money generation mechanisms are known and they can be easily plugged. In my opinion, the easiest way to plug it as far as the taxation system is concerned is to abolish income tax. Because in this country the rich don't pay income tax because they've got chartered accountants who write off everything as expenses. And the poor don't pay because they're below the line, the exemption line. And the only is the middle class, the professional class, the new entrepreneurs, the salaried class, the professors, for example. These are the people who pay the income tax. And therefore, why should they be singled out? If you are an agriculturist and you're making millions of rupees, you don't pay any taxes. There's no income tax on agricultural income. So the income tax is restricted to this middle class, which is the one that is contributing to the innovation in the country, they're contributing to the administrative power of this country, the ability to governance. That class is being penalized, while the others are all going scot-free. So it's better then to abolish it, and it can be easily abolished. And I'll come to that when I talk about measures to combat black money. Now, the issue therefore, in my opinion, is why is black money bad? For a long time, Westerners used to call black money as grease money. that you are making the system more efficient by permitting a certain amount of black money. But if the impact of it is understood, then you can never be tolerant of black money. Because black money is like cancer. It goes on corroding your system. One of the things that will happen if you engage in black money operations is that you will get substandard products. Build a road, the minister then clears a tender notice, and the tender notice is rigged. And the person who gets the award, he then has to pay a bribe to the minister. And in the process, when he builds the road, he puts substandard material. And there is no one to question it. There is no accountability because the minister himself is complicit in it. And therefore, one monsoon and the roads go kaput. We build the finest roads in Malaysia, in Nigeria, in Iraq. In Iraq, in fact, we built such a good road that from Basra to Baghdad, that when the American troops landed in the port of Basra, they took tanks and trucks all along on that highway, which we built, all the way to Baghdad. And President Bush said, one thing I have to compliment Saddam Hussein is he built wonderful roads. But he didn't. He just contracted Indians. So Indians build roads very well all over the world, but in India. And the reason is the fact of this corruption, which generates black money. So first you get substandard products. Then the government starts losing revenue. Because the fact of the matter is everything is understated and there's evasion, there's non-reporting. And so the revenue that the government should get is automatically less. And as a consequence, the government makes up by raising petrol prices or diesel prices or essential commodities prices, which nobody can avoid. So the second impact is that the burden on the society increases. On those sections of, particularly those sections of society who are honest and upright. And because we have to compensate for the dishonest sections of our society. So this is the second impact of the urge to make black money. The third thing is the far more serious one, and that is what happens to this black money take within the country. What happens is that the money is not spent on identifiable projects. I can't put up a steel plant with black money because immediately I'll come to the notice of the income tax and the authorities. So I will do things where cash transactions are easy. For instance, property, construction. And when you start having black money and you want to get rid of it, so you start building palatial houses, put marbles and marble flooring and all kinds of things. Every room has a television and air conditioner. So it's a massive, and then you buy 10 BMWs. These are kinds of things which you spend your money on. And what happens as a consequence? The profits of these, what I call as luxury goods industries, they start going up because the demand is increased. 5-star hotels, for example, are always full. You'll find the 3-star hotels not so full, but 5-star hotels full because it's all financed, the stay is financed by black money. And a hotel, cash is accepted, and much of the transaction takes place in cash. And most of the people with black money build hotels because that's one way of laundering the money. So as a consequence, these luxury sectors of our economy, they become profitable. And so an investor says, why should I make shoes or make essential commodities? These are things which will give me maybe 10%, 5% rate of return. In luxury goods industry, I'll get 25 to 40% rate of return. So the investment then starts shifting to these luxury goods. And today, 70% of our investment directly or indirectly, is going to the luxury goods sector. I produce steel, but that doesn't go to build some solid bridge somewhere. It goes to build a house or be a part of a house or a construction or some such item which is really meant to cater for the rich. So the third thing that black money does is distort the investment priorities away from what it should be for a country like ours, where maybe 25 to 30% of the people are below the poverty line, and much of our society suffers because it doesn't have basic amenities, including 24-hour electricity, water, etc. These things are not available today because the focus is not on that. The focus is on all these grand projects which are done by private entrepreneurs with the black money that they have. The property industry, the real estate is an example. Even in the worst depression that took place since modern history, in the modern history of 2009, it started in the United States. In India, there was not a slightest difference in the real estate industry, because it was all being run by black money, and it had no impact for money from the banks and so on. So this is the third effect. The fourth effect is that black money also now is usable in a traffic which goes out of the country and comes out. For example, they have created a derivative called participatory notes. If you read the Tarapura Committee report, they have very strongly, not now, 10 years ago, said this must be abolished. I've been saying that this should be abolished. My own government, the Prime Minister is inclined, but he gets these scare reports, the stock market will collapse, this will happen, that will happen. And this is a way of bringing money. What kind of money? Now, what is a participatory note? Most people don't even know what a participatory note is. And there is a conspiracy of silence amongst all these pink papers, which are business papers. They never write about participatory notes. Only some crazy people like Professor Vaidyanathan writes about it. And what is a participatory note? It's just a piece of paper. It has nobody's name on it. It has no date, serial number, nothing. It has just the amount. So if you have cash, suppose you put a lot of deposit. How do you put this deposit? You take your black money in rupees, give it to a Hawala agent, and that Hawala agent then goes to Dubai. And from Dubai, he telephones his contact in Switzerland and says that, I have got so many crores in a container in Delhi, and if you kindly transfer in dollars into the Swiss bank account number so and so, so much amount. And if anyone wants to come to India to raise that money, to wants rupees at a good favorable exchange rate, then I have that container with me and I'll take it out of that and give it to him. So that kind of transaction. It's all done by internet, mostly from Dubai and Singapore. And then the money gets deposited in the Swiss bank. And that Swiss bank, you withdraw the cash and put it in a big suitcase or a bag and take it to Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs or US Fidelity Investments. Go to the counter and put it there and say, I want a participatory note, here is my Indian passport. That's the only place where Indian passport is highly valued. Why? Because the only country in the whole world which has adopted this participatory note is India. We are intelligent people, but with the crooked mind, intelligence is a dangerous thing. And they have invented this derivative. So he will then take the cash, count it, and give you a piece of paper with the amount. You bring that to India, make a photocopy of it and give it to the Reserve Bank. They will give you a receipt. Then you go to the stock market and hand him this participatory note and say, buy so many shares. Now it's hot money in the sense that any time participatory note money wants to return back, the Reserve Bank is obliged to give you the dollar equivalent of it. And so I give it to the stockbroker, he invests it, the stock market rises, and at the peak, which I think is the peak, I sell out, and then I get capital gains, and with that capital gains, which is in rupees, I go to the Reserve Bank. After paying capital gains tax of about 30%, I go to the Reserve Bank and they show him the receipt, and then you get dollars for it and you take the dollars abroad. Now it has become white money. So this circular thing goes on and on. Now there was one problem which Mr. Chidambaram faced. That was that you have to pay 30% capital gains tax. So he devised a new scheme. Said if any company from Mauritius invests in the stock market, it will pay zero capital gains tax. Because Mauritius is a poor country, and a lot of Indians are there, nice people, there are only casinos there, and so on. So Mauritius got this exemption. And therefore what people do, they go to Mauritius, pay $1 and they register a company. And that company then invests in our stock market. And therefore they don't have to pay capital gains tax. And this has gone on. And today, if you look at the chart of all countries who have contributed to foreign investment to India, you'll find Mauritius on the top. It's not the United States. It's not Japan. It's Mauritius. A country which has nothing is got the highest. When I was investigating the 2G spectrum scam, I found that when we were doing the money laundering part, found that all the accused companies had an address in Mauritius. So I looked at it a little deeper, I found it on the same street. Then I found it on the same building. Then I found it on the same floor. Then I found it was on the same room which is locked with under furniture. So in other words, everybody uses that address and no one does any checking and the money comes. So the advantage is that if you put money in the Swiss bank and keep it there, then you have to pay a service tax. The Swiss banks don't pay you interest. You have to pay a service tax of 2%. And that is wonderful for Switzerland because all the money that you keep in the Swiss bank, they invest in the bond market in America and get 4%. So 2% plus 4%, 6%. You don't have to work in Switzerland at all. It's a nice place to live if you're a Swiss citizen. So this is the way this participatory note has introduced instability into our stock market. Stock market in the last 15, 20 years has been going up and down, up and down. Suddenly there will be a notice of crash and then the price has gone down. Then the participatory note will come and then the thing will go up. So this instability is caused by that. Similar instability is called an agricultural crisis. Why? The government, for some strange reason which no other government in the world has done, has allowed industrialists to do forward trading in agricultural commodities. So what do? They go to the wholesale market, meet the farmer, and the farmer will only accept cash, he is not going to accept checks. So you give him cash and buy the crop and put it in a cold storage, create an artificial storage and artificial shortage, and then the prices of agricultural commodities go up. India's agricultural commodities prices have been rising even whether there is a bumper crop because of this forward trading that has been introduced. And that is entirely financed by the black money. So these are the things that hurt us very much economically. But even in terms of our national security, we are hurt. Because these Hawala people, they go to Dubai, and in Dubai they make the transfer. But in Dubai the rule is that no financial transfers will take place abroad without the clearance of the ISI of Pakistan. So the ISI of Pakistan knows who is having a bank account abroad, and what is his pass number? Can you believe then, if the ministers are keeping money abroad, will they be not afraid of the ISI? And they will soon recommend to the Prime Minister that we must be soft on Pakistan, not take, what a few Jawans killed here or there, these things happen. We must talk to Pakistan, we must have good relations with Pakistan. Because of this fear that you might be exposed by them if you took a hard Pakistani line. Generally speaking, find out who all the Indian politicians are taking a soft line towards Pakistan. Be sure that he's got a bank account abroad. That's one way of identifying. So your national security is compromised. And that's why we have Pathankots, today we have office building in Kashmir taken over. Because of all these, there is no retaliation taking place. Although, of course, there's a lot of change now with the Narendra Modi government, and particularly with Parikar there. But it's still an uphill task for us because this has been going on for the last 30 years. So, consequently, you see the multi-dimensional effect of black money. It's not that somebody is committed a breach of the law and kept it and you have to prosecute him for it. It's the nation's future which is at stake here. And it must receive the topmost priority in bringing it back. Why have we not brought it back? Well, the measures that you need are the measures we are not using or adopting so far. Maybe, I will not be more specific, but to say maybe after May we might start adopting those methods which I'm about to tell you. The first method that we have to adopt is we must make it such, our actions of the government should be such that each of us personally feels it's not worth being corrupt. And how to do it? Well, one certain way is catch people at the top. People ask me why you're chasing Sonia Gandhi so much. Well, I'm chasing her because she's perhaps the one with the largest deposits of black money abroad. And if I catch her, then everybody down will say if it can happen to her, it can happen to me. That fear is there. But I've seen in my own case, when I walk around and ask somebody, why is this going on? He said, no, sab theek kar denge, sab bataiye. No, don't worry, don't worry. People are afraid the moment I start looking at some project. That fear we want to build for the government. Then you violate, you might get caught. And big people can be caught, then small people can also be caught. Today the feeling is, no, nobody will be caught. So, this is one thing that we need to do. The second thing is, I want to tell you that what are the ways by which you can make each of us feel that it's not worth being corrupt. So I developed a calculus for it. I put it down on the blackboard. You have a marker? Red will be more visible. Black is better or red is better?
Boss.
All right. Suppose by a bribe B, you can see. Yeah.